Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, Yankee fans can calm down a little bit. The Yankees finally have a homestand that fans can be proud of because, the second half of the season has been totally miserable. Losing a lot of series to teams that have no business losing against, splitting a series against Oakland, losing 2-3 to the, Los Angeles Angels, and of course getting swept by St. Louis Cardinals, and barely escaping getting swept by, teams like Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. Finally, the Yankees have a homestand that fans can be proud of. I understand the usual punch bag against the Twins, but also fending off the Tampa Bay Rays, who have been, nipping at the Yankees' heels a little bit, and would love that opportunity to maybe, sweep the Yankees and then really make the AL East very interesting. So the Yankees are able to kind of combat all that, turn it around a little bit, and of course, a lot of good news for the Yankees in terms of some players coming back a little bit. Things getting a little bit better. Some players like Gleyber Torres hitting a little bit, who we kind of need for the Yankees to do anything this season. So we'll get into all that. Of course, an interesting article regarding Jordan Montgomery in the New York Post. Getting all that. Did I mention also some new rules in baseball going to be officially announced for the 2023 season? Getting into all that. Before we do, make sure before right now you're not sure if you should follow or subscribe, but there's got to be a follow or subscribe button. I know I've said this a million times. You're not listening, or maybe sick of hearing of it, but there's got to be a button there. Hit that. Get notified when new content comes out throughout the season. Again, it's exclusive content for you podcast subscribers. So yes, you see me now. You love to see that, but there's other things out there you may not know about, and maybe see it on TV. And it's like, well, there's more things out there. So the only way you can do that is by hitting that follow, a like, subscribe. They say crush it. Crush that subscribe button and get notified when new content comes out throughout the season. But now enjoy this episode. So, no secret the Yankees have been struggling the second half of this season, and they barely escaped the last time they faced Tampa Bay Rays down in Tampa, winning that final game 2-1 because that was a game where 2 outs, second runners on second, third. Clay Holmes able to get a strikeout against Diaz, got a borderline low strike, but the Yankees got the benefit of the doubt. Barely escaping that series, but still, Tampa's gaining ground on the Yankees, and Yankee fans are getting very nervous because, a couple months ago the Yankees enjoyed a double-digit lead in the AL East. You figure, no way, they got this wrapped up. But again, Tampa's been clawing back with the fact that the Yankees have been struggling a little bit. So this homestand was very important for the New York Yankees. And now I had a couple teams coming in. It was very interesting. Now the Minnesota Twins, which we know traditionally going back even to the late 90s, the Yankees have dominated as organization. So if you want to get right against someone, the Twins are, perfect in that regard. And, it all worked out for the Yankees. But of course, Tampa was coming back for their last 3 game set against the Yankees. That'll be the final 3 times that these teams will be facing each other. So it all kind of worked out. Now, before the series even started, obviously the Yankees had, we know the whole thing with Anthony Rizzo. Been struggling a bit with the back injury. Now they gave him the epidural. Now it turns out that, he was feeling good physically, but the epidural shot itself was giving him some hot, headaches and migraines. Now, remember that before the season even started, that Rizzo was one of those players that I'm not sure if he was vaccinated or not. Again, he had a little health issue a couple of years ago. Wasn't really, in love with getting the, the COVID-19 vaccine, and now you can kind of see why that case is. Having some negative effects from the epidural. Again, non kind of physical issue, but more just headaches and fogginess of the head. So, situation where, you figure, all right, maybe he can come back soon. As long as the back is healthy, that's the good news for the Yankees. And you saw him crush 2 home runs out there in California when the Yankees visited the Angels. So it doesn't seem like he's really physically limited, but again, whatever the effects from the shot, figure the Yankees had to put him on the IL. So obviously Rizzo not available for this homestand, but again, it doesn't seem like the back is really the problem there. So that's really good. The good news for Yankees fans. But nevertheless, the Twins are coming in now. At the point, they were 68 and 64, a couple of games over 500, but only a half game back in the AL East Central there. Obviously, they're competing for a playoff spot. So, you see the Yankees struggle against teams that we have no business struggling against. Teams like, again, like Oakland or Los Angeles Angels or Anaheim are 20 games under 500. Here's a Twins team fighting for a playoff spot, a couple of games over 500, and you figure they would give the Yankees a tough time, but not be the case because, again, they always beat the Twins, and that was the case in this series. Now, they didn't sweep them. They took 3 out of 4, but again, comparing with the way the Yankees have been lately, you'll take that certainly. Now, the opening game was kind of important for a few reasons. Not really, more injury-wise, because Jameson Taillon, as you remember, that game in Oakland, took a line drive off his arm. Now, it turned out to be a situation where they'd have to put him on the IL. Came back in this game. Again, wasn't gangbusters, but only gave up 2 runs in the game, so you'll kind of take that. Now, the Yankees jumped out to an early 2-0 lead in this game, but again, this series is going to be the Yankee Stadium return of 2 old friends. Of course, Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela, involved in that big 5-player trade early this season that brought Josh Donaldson to the Yankees. Now, obviously, Gary Sanchez, again, kind of mixed feelings on him anyway, but obviously stuck it to the Yankees, able to hit a 2-run home run in this game to tie it up at 1.22. But the Yankee offense took it away from there. Aaron Judge hitting his 54th home run of the year, and of course, Isaiah Falefa. Again, we don't know him much for the long ball, again, but he kind of teed off a little bit in this Twins series. Only one home run in the year, but also hit a home run in this game. The Yankees would go on to win this first game 5-2. But an important point was in the ninth inning with Clay Holmes, who, again, he's been back. You saw him a couple times on the road trip in Anaheim. Was decent, okay. Almost blew that save down in Tampa. You're not really confident in this one, but had a clean ninth inning, struck out 2 batters. So now you figure, all right, maybe Clay Holmes is back, and I know he had the back spasm issue there. So again, good news for the Yankees. Again, if he could be the Clay Holmes that we saw at the first half of the season, very good news for the Yankees. And again, had a clean ninth inning, so you like to see that for the Yankees. So the Yankees take that first game. Now, the second game got delayed a little bit, obviously because of rain delay. So game 2 was canceled. So what they did is a day-night doubleheader for what would have been the Wednesday game. So now the first game there was on the mound was Domingo Germán. He did fall behind 3-0 in this game. Wasn't terrible, but the Yankee at-bats, did rescue him. Aaron Judge hitting his second home run of the series, which would be number 55. And again, kind of early September here. And again, a kind of a shot here of catching up to Maris's 61, which people are going to consider the real home run record. We'll get into that afterwards. But Gleyber Torres, more importantly, hitting a 2-run home run in this game to tie the score up 3-3. And it's important for Gleyber Torres, he got off to a really good start of the season. Again, he needed a good bounce-back season for the Yankees, and he has had that overall. But again, recent maybe a month or so more, has been struggling a little bit, and it's kind of, you don't want to see that. He's still a young guy. He's an all-star caliber player, and again, he's one of the baby bombers that you think would come true. Again, we had the 4 of them. Judge is a solid guy. Severino he's just a little hurt a little bit. Obviously, they traded away Gary Sanchez. Gleyber Torres is kind of that final baby bomb you're hoping to come through. So again, big 2-run home run in the series, tied the score 3-3. Now this actually went into extra innings. This was actually the early game, and kind of similar to that Josh Donaldson grand slam game against Tampa. The Yankees did fall behind in the 12th inning, but the Yankees had a little rally in the bottom of the 12th inning. Big hit by IKF again, who hit hit a home run the game before to tie the score up. To put runners on there, and then Oswaldo Cabrera, who we'd all been waiting for. Again, we've seen him in the field making a lot of great plays, whether it's in the infield, especially out in right field, whether it's catching balls, diving for balls, jumping, robbing home runs, or throwing runners out of second. But finally getting a game-winning hit. I don't know if I'd call it his Yankee moment yet, but good clutch hit, kind of a little flare shot to the shortstop hole. Ball went through, and of course the Yankees are able to come away with the win there, winning in extra innings, and again, of course, Cabrera getting the walk-off hit there. And again, that was only game 1, so if you're a fan, you got 1 ticket for 2 games, so that was the long game. The good news about the second game was pretty much over pretty quickly, and it helped that the Yankees had Garrett Cole on the mound there. But this game really, the Yankees fell behind early. Cole gave up a home run to Carlos Correa in the second inning. The Yankees fell behind 1-0, but the Yankees put this one away rather early. Kind of Falefa up with the bases loaded. Hits a grand slam. So again, IKF went off in the series. Again, had a home run in the first game. A big crucial hit in the opener of this doubleheader. And of course now hitting a grand slam in the 4th inning of this game, put the Yankees up at that point 4-1. You could have turned it off there. Another Yankee who's going to kind of be struggling mightily with the bat. We'll get into it a little after that. Aaron Hicks up with a situation later on in the game with the bases loaded. Didn't do anything great like hitting a home run, but kind of did the second or third best thing you do in that situation, a bases clearing double. So put the Yankees up 7-1, and again, the Yankees would blow away the Twins, sweeping the day-night doubleheader, taking the second game 7-1. But more importantly for Cole, having a really good strong start and getting a win. Not only pitching into the 7th inning, but also getting 14 punch-outs. And only just giving out that 1 run, which is a solo home run to Carlos Correa. But important for Cole, because Cole has had a weird season. He's like the Yankees' ace, but that was only his 11th win of the season. Usually a guy like that, you expect him to be near 18 and 19, 20 wins by this time in September. But he's kind of had a weird season where some of it has been his own doing, but he's also had situations where he's pitched great and has got no run support. So it's just good to see him have a strong start and also get run support and getting a win there. And so at this point, the Yankees have taken the first 3 games out of the 4-game series. And you figure, hey, it's the Twins, maybe we can sweep these guys. But if you don't, it's still, I think, a productive series for the Yankees, which then brought the Yankees to the 4th game. And important to this game, now the Yankees end up losing, okay, but there's a lot of good things you could point at. Obviously, the return of Nestor Cortez. Again, he was on IL for a while with a groin injury. Now, he only went 4 innings in this game. But again, his first game back from the IL, you'll take that. Now, kind of interesting here, before the game even started, DJ LeMahieu, who we all know has been struggling a little bit with the whole toe injury, they finally say, you know what, let's just put him in the IL, which they should have done this maybe a couple of weeks ago. But I guess the Yankees inner circle and the management team, the executive feel that, you know what, we got a little enough breathing room against Tampa. Run a couple of games against the Twins here. It's a good time to put DJ on the IL and maybe get him off his feet a little bit. So so obviously he was not available for this game, but since he was down there, bring up Miguel Andujar, who has been drama the whole season, up and down. I'm going to trade me, please, like that. Well, finally comes through for the Yankees, hits his first home run of the season for the Yankees, puts the Yankees up that point, 2-0. Now the Twins in the fifth would tie this game 2-2. And obviously the Yankees kind of broke down a little bit in the end of this game, kind of a little bit of pitching problems, kind of a little bit of defensive problems, kind of, hitting problems, mainly the hitting problems. Now, it was kind of a bang-bang play at first base. Wander Peralta was covering first base on a ground out. It kind of bobbled a little bit, and it was kind of judgmental call. Now, the umpires called the runner at first safe there. But again, you possibly could have made the case that, Peralta held the ball enough at first base where they called him out. Ended up, didn't it? Boone argued a little bit, but it didn't get too crazy. Unfortunately, though, it did leave a run at first base. And then Carlos Correa, again, who hit a home run the day before against Garrett Cole, hit another home run, put the Twins up at that point, 4-2. Now, the Yankees in the eighth did battle a little bit. Miguel Andujar with the bases loaded, did have a bases loaded walk. Pulled the Yankees closer with 4-3, but the Yankees couldn't do anything else in that inning. And also had another situation in the ninth inning, again, where they could have maybe tied the score, even gone ahead. Now, with only one out, the bases loaded. Again, a situation where all you need is a sac fly to tie the game, but unfortunately, Gleyber Torres struck out, and that was really the big blow there. And then IKF came up there. IKF overall is good for this whole series. Did ground out, and the Yankees lose that final game 4-3. But even in losing, it's not a terrible loss because you still you had opportunities in the eighth. You could have won it, opportunity in the ninth, and you won it. You did take 3 out of 4, so you kind of go away with that. And again, it's good to see Nestor Cortez back there. And of course, Clay Holmes having a nice save in that first game. So, yeah, again, they kind of left a little more on the table there. They could have swept the 4-game series, but you don't feel devastated about it. And you feel good that, all right, you finally won a series. And it's a series the Yankees could be proud of most overall. Got good quality starting pitching for the most bit. I know, 8th and 9th inning there, maybe they left a lot of runners on it, and that's been the problem with the Yankees the entire season, but you can say that for a lot of teams. But finally a series for the Yankees they could feel proud of, and now they're ready to host the visiting Tampa Bay Rays. So the big showdown with Tampa, again, the final 3 games that the New York Yankees and Tampa Bay Rays will face each other this season, and kind of pivotal because, Tampa's been, gaining on the Yankees' ground in the AL East there, and a situation where if Tampa came in here, either took 2 out of 3 or even swept the Yankees, even though fans have been panicking for the past few weeks, you would have seen the super panic button being pressed. But fortunately for the Yankees, whatever you want to say about them, actually responded in this series and kind of hit Tampa back in a big way, especially in the second and third games there. Now, you kind of not expect that. That's the way things have been going this season. But we'll break down all the games. So the first game was a Friday night game. Now, a little side note there was the Derek Jeter Hall of Fame introduction night. Of course, Derek Jeter inducted to the Hall of Fame a couple of years ago, but with COVID and other stuff, never really had an official ceremony at Yankee Stadium, so they finally had that. Well, if you're a Yankee fan, of course, the place was sold out. That was only a good moment to enjoy the night. The rest of the night was kind of miserable. And just the way things were going, especially with Aaron Hicks, we'll get into in a minute there. You figure, this might be the end of the season, the way this thing is going. Of course, we know the Yankees struggling to score runs. Did it in this game, but finally did bounce back in the third game there, so you could feel good about that. So on the mound for the Yankees was Frankie Montas, who remember last time when he faced Tampa, gave the Yankees 5 shutout innings. You're hoping to kind of continue that over. Now, he did not have a good line for this game, ended up losing the game, but you can't really blame him for this one. This is more of an Aaron Hicks game that caused Montas. So Montas did give up a run in the first inning, and so the Yankees were down 1-0 there. But really in the fourth inning was where this whole game fell apart. So with a couple of runners on, now this was the return of Wander Franco, the Rays superstar, who the Rays gave him a boatload of money, but he's actually been out for quite a bit, and the Yankees have dodged him the last couple of series these teams face each other. Finally, Franco comes back for the series and actually hurts the Yankees in this first game in a couple of different ways. Again, with 2 runners on, hits a shot to left field. Now, Aaron Hicks was running towards the foul line to catch the ball. Unfortunately, he put a glove on it, but wasn't able to really flag it in. So even though he kind of caught it with his body leaning in foul territory, the ball actually bounced into fair territory and actually landed as a hit. And unfortunately, 2 runners were able to score in that game, put the Rays up that point, 3-0, and then the very next hitter, Randy Arozarena, who has killed the Yankees for the past couple of seasons, hits another shot towards left field towards Hicks. Now Hicks kind of turned his body the wrong way, and the ball ended up going over his head. So 2 embarrassing plays in a row for Aaron Hicks there, and obviously Franco was able to score there. Put the Rays up at that point, 4-0, and again, that was really the nail in the coffin for the Yankees in this game. And of course, the fans were getting on Hicks there. Now, the big moment that this was in the 4th inning, in the top of the 5th inning, turns out Estevan Florial came out in left field, so Aaron Boone officially benching Hicks for this game. And kind of surprising there, because you see Boone, they say, hey, he's a player's coach, and he always defends his players, never critiques his players. Now, they went to him after the game and say, why did you take Hicks out? He said it was more just because the fans were really, getting nasty on him there, and he just kind of didn't want to play at the Hicks head. So I think it was a good move at that point. And again, not that the Yankees were missing out on anything, even before, making those 2 errors or, those 2 misplays out in the outfield. Hicks struck out 2 times in this game, so he was giving the Yankees absolutely nothing. He was probably really, in the gutter there mentally. So I think it was a good call by, Boone there to take him out of the game, but it's kind of surprising because you never see Boone really critique his plays the way Girardi used to do. And then remember Girardi took Cano out in 2008, his first year as a Yankee manager, when he felt Cano didn't hustle for a ground ball there, even though it was late in the season when the Yankees, again, they had no shot at the playoffs that season, but still Girardi kind of very tactful like that. So this kind of first time we've seen Aaron Boone really do that to a Yankee player, so kind of surprising there. The Yankees finally did get on the board in the 7th inning thanks to Aaron Judge with an RBI single, and even Higgy in the 8th inning added a home run, pulled the Yankees within 4-2, but that would be the final score. Now, in the 9th inning, there was a runner on, and Gleyber Torres did send the shot to the warning track. For the second inning, though, maybe could tie the game there because towards right field, and we all know right field, the Yankees get a little benefit there. The ball's going over. Unfortunately, wasn't far enough, and the Yankees would fall in the game 4-2. And if you look at Frankie Montas, obviously his line doesn't look good there. Dropping his his record to 5-12. But again, if you look at those Aaron Hicks plays out in the outfield there, that had a lot to do. And again, Frankie Montas wasn't sharp. He got cuffed around a little bit for 9 hits, did surrender 4 walks, wasn't sharp again. But again, it's a situation where, an outfield not making plays he should be making kind of hurt the Yankees then and took them out. But really the big story is really more about the offense and kind of more of the same as Rays pitching continued at that point to dominate the Yankee hitters. Drew Rassman, again, back from paternity leave, his first game, and he goes 6 shutout innings against the New York Yankees. Again, the guy hadn't pitched in a while just because he was on paternity leave, and he shuts the Yankees out for 6 innings. So as much you want to blame Hicks, as much you want to blame Montas, who hasn't been impressive really since coming to the Yankees via trade, you got to look at really the issue with the Yankee offense, the lack thereof, and this guy, Rasmussen, coming to the Yankee Stadium and getting his 10th win of the season. But from there, finally, the Yankees would wake up and turn the story there. So if the Yankees do anything special in this postseason, or make it, make it to the World Series, whether they win or lose it, you'll look back at this weekend series against Tampa as the pivotal turning point, because as low the Yankees were at that point, again, you got your new guy Montas in there, gives you an unimpressive start. Hicks makes those big errors. The Yankee offense does nothing. And you figure, all right, we're going to blow the AL East to the Tampa Bay Rays. And that may still very happen. There's still some time in September for that. But this series, the Yankees turned it around in that second game. And interesting enough, against Corey Kluber, who the Yankees have seen now, this is going to be the 5th time the Yankees have seen him this season. Haven't been able to touch him at all. In fact, the last time they faced Kluber, which is the 4th time, Kluber absolutely dominated the Yankees, went 7 innings. First time in the whole season he went 7 innings, and only surrendered 2 base hits to the New York Yankees. Absolutely dominated the Yankees. That would not be the case in this game. The Yankees would tee off on him in the first inning, hitting 7 consecutive singles against him. Actually chased him out. He was only able to get 2 outs in the inning, and the Yankees would put up a 6 spot in the first inning against Kluber, and it was the first time since 1988 that actually happened in a game with the Kansas City Royals against the Baltimore Orioles. So the Yankees is doing a record-breaking thing in that first inning there. And Josh Donaldson, also on a little bit of a paternity leave himself, comes back in this game in the second inning, hits a sole home run at that point, puts the Yankees up 7-0, and the Yankees just cruise along in this entire game. And on this interesting point, later in the game, in the 8th inning, the Yankees at this point up 9-3. Now, Giancarlo Stanton, as you all know, has been ice cold since coming back with the Achilles injury. Finally hits a home run, but I'm not going to be too impressed by it. It was off Bethancourt. Is actually the catcher at this point. Again, the Yankees kind of beat up on Tampa so much in this game, they actually used a position player just to get through the last final 2 innings of this game. So he's basically throwing knuckleball and junk up there. So like Stanton was able to hit like a 47 mile per hour like knuckleball. crushed it pretty good to left field and hit the foul pole and put the Yankees up at that point 10-3. Again, you're not really impressed at a home run. You're not going to say that, oh, Stanton's back like that. Now, he would have home run the next game, which you're happy about. But this is it was like a batting practice home run. So good that he hit that, but you're not really impressed by it. But the important part is that the Yankees take the second game, bounce back in a big way, put up a 10 spot, and not only the Yankee offense come through, but Jameson Taillon, his second, start back from that kind of that forearm injury, just getting a line drive off his forearm there, able to pitch into the 8th inning. Only gives up 3 runs, probably his best start in quite a while. Able to pick up his 13th win of the season, actually leads the entire Yankee staff, surprisingly enough. Gave up 3 runs, but again, a lot of stuff when you have a big lead like that, you're not really pitching finesse. You just want to get outs there. So having a really strong start is really good news for the Yankees because similar to Garrett Cole a little bit, he's kind of been sputtering a little bit. So to have a start like that in the second half of the season with the season wind down, very good news for the Yankees. And the Yankees take that second game 10-3 and tie up the series at that point, 1 game apiece, which then brings it to the Sunday game, the rubber game, as they say. Now, Yankees had, going into this one, now Domingo Germán on the mound, which they said he was going to go on, he was on short rest, so they kind of played their hand a little bit that he wasn't going to go long in this game. The game was delayed a little bit because of rain delay, but the Yankees would kind of similarly put this game away quite early on. In the bottom of the first inning there, Gleyber Torres with a 3-run home run. So we saw him with the couple home run against the Twins series there. Now getting the bat warmed up, hits a big 3-run home run to put the Yankees up early in this game in the first inning, 3-0. And the Yankees would just tee off from there similarly as they did in the second game. Tampa in the second inning would pull it in with a 3-1, but with the bases loaded, Aaron Judge with a sacrifice fly put the Yankees up 4-1, and then Giancarlo Stanton finally hitting a legitimate home run against Luis Patino, a 94-mile-per-hour high-rising fastball, hits it to right field, a 3-run shot in that game, the point putting the Yankees up 7-1. And again, that's more of a legit home run than he hit the game before against Bethancourt, which is like a batting practice home run. So good to see Stanton hit a legit 94-mile-per-hour home run. Again, he's been struggling a little bit. Put the Yankees at that point, 7-1. Gleyber Torres hits his second home run in the game. So now you have 2 home runs in the game very early on. Puts the Yankees up 8-1. And then Oswaldo Cabrera, we've been waiting for this. I know he had a game-winning hit during the Twins series. Hits his first major league home run. So welcome to the Yankee world, Oswaldo Cabrera there. Hitting a 2-run home run shot there to right field. Put the Yankees at that point 10-1. Now the Twins would add the Rays would add a couple of runs on in the 6th and the 9th inning here. But the Yankees, again, take it away with a laugher. Come away with this game 10-4. And pitching wise, now again, Germán didn't go long. Only Boone lifted him after the first inning again because he was going to go on short rest anyway. And with the rain delay, you kind of figured they were going to warm him up and let him go long anyway because they want to preserve his arm. So it was a bullpen situation. The Yankees ended up using 8 pitches total in this game. But more importantly, really the offense is breaking out against this Rays pitching staff, which has dominated the Yankees during the second half of the season. So they scored 10 runs in the second game. Score 10 runs in this third game. Again, take the third game 10-4, and of course beat the Tampa Rays in the series 2-1. And it's good homestand for the New York Yankees. Taking 3 out of 4 against the Twins, and then 2 out of 3 against Tampa. Again, 2 teams that are going to very likely have a shot, whether in the playoffs or in the wild card team. So good legit teams to beat against, and it's good to see these offenses coming along. Just with some good news coming along that the Yankees are going to get some reinforcements a little bit, and we've been waiting for this. Of course, Harrison Bader, who again the Yankees got in the Jordan Montgomery trade, which we figured the Yankees got the short end of that stick, but he's starting to rehab a little bit. Aroldis Chapman, who had the infection with the tattoo on the leg, which I don't know why he doing in the middle of the season. Coming back, he's rehabbing, as well as Zach Britton and Miguel Castro. So the Yankees should get 3 good, strong arms in the bullpen as an option. And, of course, getting Bader to see what he could do in the outfield. So a lot of good news for the Yankees. So, again, the Yankees kind of been in the funk, second half of the season, but you're seeing them, all right, the bats wake up a little bit. You have a good homestand, and now you're starting to get some pieces back. So as the Yankees, kind of wind down the regular season a little bit, a lot of good positive things to, look forward to. I mentioned Bader before with the rehabbing, but of course we know the Yankees shipped out Jordan Montgomery to St. Louis to get him. An interesting article in the New York Post. Now, actually, Montgomery was on the CC Sabathia, Ryan Rucco podcast, and he kind of mentioned the way the Yankees handle pitches there. Again, he mentioned how there's a lot of pressure pitching as a New York Yankee, but how they utilize the fastball and breaking balls. And we've seen this before with Sonny Gray. Now, Montgomery mentioned that with 2 strikes, the Yankee pitching staff, or at least the coaches, and maybe it comes from Brian Cashman, want like a changeup or a curveball, and seemingly this is like known throughout baseball, and a lot of opposing players either foul the ball off or just know to take because they know it's not going to be a clean fastball strike. And Montgomery, the reason why he's been successful in St. Louis, according to him, again, jumped out to a 4-0 of, kind of winning the first 4 games there and having an ERA of 0.34, kind of just jumping out there. It says that he's able to utilize his fastball and in count, which, again, maybe now the Yankee coaches are actually kind of preventing these pitches being as successful as it could be. Kind of interesting because we saw the same thing from Sonny Gray, again, with the Yankees for a cup of coffee, but when he got shipped to the Cincinnati Reds, he kind of mentioned the same thing, that the Yankees want their players on 2 strikes to throw breaking stuff into the dirt instead of just utilizing their fastball. So kind of interesting note there. You get 2 players kind of a couple of years apart saying the same thing. So again, maybe the Yankee coaching staff need to go back to the drawing board. So this season still needs to be decided upon, but in 2023 there's going to be 3 big rule changes, really 2 out of the 3 of the big ones. Well, one of them is going to be the pitch clock, which is not too crazy because you kind of see that already with the players come out of the bullpen. You only got 2 minutes to warm up. Well, now in terms of pitches uncorking a pitch, they have 15 seconds if no one's on the base, 20 seconds if someone is on the base. They kind of do this already right now, but they don't really enforce it, so I don't really see that being a big change. But the other 2 are going to be kind of significant. Now, one is going to be the size of the bases, which are now 15 inches. They want to increase that to 18 inches, and mainly that's due to a test they did in the minors where they saw that they were able to reduce injuries by 13.5%. Mainly a lot of that as first base, where you know that a lot of first basemen are sticking their arm out there, and it's usually a bang-bang play with a runner running in there, try to get on first base, and the pitcher kind of throwing the ball in, or an infield throw the ball in, and you see first basemen get hurt all the time with either a wrist or a finger injury like that. So a lot of it's really for that, but also it's to induce more offense. If you have bigger bases on second and third base, it's easier for a player to steal second, third base, so they want to maybe bring speed back to the game. Kind of, instead of baseball being a lot about walks and 3-run home runs, which again, in terms of viewerships, kind of boring to watch. So they want to get the Ricky Hendersons and Tim Raines back in the world. But the most interesting one is going to be the last one, is going to be the defensive alignment, which, a lot of these shifts, which, it's kind of been the new thing for the past, 10, 15 years, and kind of introduced by the Tampa Bay Rays, which we all know. You put 3 players on one side, and that kind of kills someone like Joey Gallo or Mark Teixeira. Mark Teixeira used to be a 300 hitter, kind of relegate him to be like a 220 hitter. Well, now you have to have 2 players on each side of second base, so you no longer can stack 3 players on one side there. So should help, again, you have more singles and, again, more action in the game, more activity, which, again, helps with viewership like there. And you can no longer have the 4 men out in the outfield, which, again, used to kill players. Yankees, you remember, like Mark Teixeira and Brian McCann there. So going to be kind of interesting to see, going forward in 2023, you should see more offense. So as much as I want to criticize the Yankees, they did answer the bell, taking 2 out of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays in a real pivotal series. Now the question is Judge going to break Maris to 61?